Well, I think everybody in the neighborhood has a talent, and they use those talents in their work, but they also can use those talents in keeping their neighborhood and their community better. My name is Alice Kelly, and I live in Park Hill, and I'm a community activist. We just moved here because we loved the diversity of age, ethnicity. We had, an auto mechanic on one side, and we had a executive director on another side, and so there was a lot of diversity on this block, and we loved that. We wanted our children to experience that. I didn't quite know how to meet people. I really wanted to get active. So someone had suggested that I join the League of Women Voters of Denver. So I did. I joined the education committee. We knew that the schools were going to desegregate. The Supreme Court handed it down to Denver in December 1973. So the schools were to desegregate in fall of '74. We formed a group called People Let's Unite for Schools. We wanted peaceful school desegregation because in many cities during that time, it was not. There was some buses that were set on fire. There was also some of that here in Denver. My little committee of 5 with the League drafted this kind of explanation about school desegregation, kind of the history and where we were going with it, so that families would have an understanding of why this was happening. So that was my kind of baptism in community activism, because I was out talking to groups for almost twice a week for a long time, trying to get them to understand or help them understand kind of what the issues were and how we could peacefully school desegregate. Well, a lot of people moved, and a lot of people hunkered down, but families started to trickle back. My support group was the League of Women Voters, and that organization enabled me to do a lot of community activism. I was president of the League when Mayor Pena asked me to serve on the Stapleton Tomorrow Committee. The airport was going to be built, and Mayor Pena said, well, what do we do with all this land that used to be the Stapleton Airport? And so he put together a group of about 30 community people. We went out to the schools, we had community forums, and it was a fascinating conceptual group that came up with this idea. We came up with a master plan, which is now called the Green Book. It had retail, it had housing, it had open space, a lot of open space. I served on that board for a long time, so starting in '89, and then I remember wondering in 2000 if we would ever see anybody move into a house there. I just couldn't believe I'd ever see that. So one day, like 2002, I think it was, I was leaving a meeting, and oh my goodness, there was a house going up. And I pulled over because it was the first house. And I was thrilled to find, and then they just kept coming. And you couldn't build them fast enough. I was the first Parks Committee chair. That was interesting because where do you put a park on this barren land? The community said was, we would just like a little piece of park. Doesn't have to be big, and so those are called pocket parks. And then of course Central Park was the big one. The master plan said that people should be able to live where you work and work where you live, and so that would be the table waiters, school teachers, and the policemen, and the CEOs. They should all find housing. It's some kind of housing at Stapleton. So we worked on that diligently. There's not enough. I don't think there's enough of that kind of housing, but there are some developments going up currently. And so we're getting there, but it's taken a long time. I just have had fun. I've met a lot of people. I have learned so much about runway mitigation. how to build affordable housing, what makes a rich school district. It's just been terrific. It's been a terrific journey. And I'm still learning.